Well, hey, Steph, so glad you could spend time with me. And I know you're in the middle of, I don't know what you said, like 2 weeks of ungodly amount of work hours because you work in the medical profession. So I'm really thankful for you to be able to carve out a few minutes to just chat with me and talk about, first of all, your new book. So, what is it? Well, first of all, thank you for taking time. Welcome to the call. What does it feel like to be a brand new author?
Oh man, well, first of all, thanks for interviewing me. This is awesome. The whole process has been awesome, and my books actually just came in yesterday,
Oh,
and
wow.
I know, and so I was able to open it up, and I couldn't believe it. It was like, oh my God, this is really real. You
Do you
you
have one
watch.
there?
Yeah, actually, yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
show it off. Absolutely.
Can you see?
How
Yeah.
cool is that?
Yeah, it's pretty neat to have you've seen the 2D, the
Sure.
two-dimensional, and then to actually hold the three-dimensional and actually read the story on paper is a totally different experience for me. So yeah, I was pretty jazzed about it. I mean, something that, I never really dreamed would happen. So it's pretty amazing. It's a pretty amazing feeling. And
Awesome.
yeah.
So I've got so many questions, and I'm looking at your chapter as well. And, I kind of see an entire chronicle that you shared here. And, the whole idea that you have, I think it's like your mantra is rule your mind, rock your best life. Okay.
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that. Now you have such an interesting, what I want to call life as a nurse anesthetist. So you are putting people to sleep and bringing them back awake to make
Right. You got to make sure that part gets in there.
exactly right, bringing them back. So that's very important. So you deal with extremely stressful environments. So that takes what I would think is nerves of steel, and focus, and what happens when something wrong happens, and you
Right.
go into I can't panic. I got
Right.
this. I got to bring this person back. You know.
Yeah, they actually equate it to anesthesia to flying a plane, and they talk about takeoff and landing are the most dangerous parts, and
Why?
takeoff is equated with what's called induction in anesthesia, putting them to sleep because
Sure.
their senses are changing, and then landing is waking them up, and so those are the most intense moments. But most of the time it's smooth sailing, but when something does go wrong, it's very intense for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So you have obviously nerves of steel, but as I was reading, some of your background, it looks like the whole idea that you were seated with, that you've written about now in your book, has to do. It started with your zoology professor, if I'm right.
Absolutely. Yep.
And
Yep.
you've got a great story that you start off with, and it talks about how if he made a statement, and that if you watch your thinking, then you won't have to watch what you say. And I see you quoted the ancient Upanishads right
Right.
after that, talking about how they, I guess I would say millennia ago, several millennia ago, had the same concept that if your thoughts then affect your words affect conduct, conduct affect habits, habit is character, and character ends up becoming your destiny. So if you're having a problem with where your life is leading towards, and you don't like your character and you don't like your habits, don't just sit there and cry about it. Guess what you do? You just reverse engineer
Sure. Exactly. And it leads back to our thoughts. So
back to your
yeah.
thoughts. So first of all, how long did it take that thought that your professor seated you with for you to go, get the aha?
Yeah, so I guess first of all, I thought about it as just literally what he said, because somebody was talking about watch what you say. The old saying that probably you may have heard it from your mother. Watch your
Right.
mouth, watch what you say.
Sure.
And so I mean, and that's good advice. But then he said, if you watch what you think, you won't ever have to watch what you say. And I took the literal part of that. But then one day, I think it was several years. It may have been many years later. But that thought would occasionally just rumble through my brain.
Right.
And one day, I was like, "Aha!" I had the moment that, oh my gosh! And it may have probably I had read some other things. I mean, what is it? As a man thinketh. I mean, the
Sure.
Bible talks about our thoughts, and
Sure.
I don't know, one day it just kind of hit me and I had this aha moment of, oh, this is way deeper than watching what you say. It's really about we creating our reality, and
Yeah, exactly. Because your destiny is really your reality occurring right in front of you.
right.
Okay, maybe on a larger scale, but so what is happening now, you're saying in your reality, we're all responsible for that because
Right.
we are responsible for controlling our thoughts. And yet, who teaches it? Well, like you said, the Bible talks about it and other great wisdom teachings talk about this, but how many people do you bump into every day in the hospital and in your profession of very educated people that are discussing, oh, yeah, the reason why this happened to me in my life is because of my poor thinking habits.
Right. Exactly. We don't talk about that. It's not taught in schools. I mean, here I was, probably a sophomore in college, something like that. And I mean, I may have heard those things before. And he was a very interesting character anyway, so I had great respect for the man. But I don't know how it just really sunk in, and we don't talk about that stuff. It's really a shame that we don't talk about that stuff, because I really think people could start shaping their destiny at a much younger age, because once we get into these thinking patterns, they're hard to break. It's
Absolutely.
not. It's easy to say, watch your thoughts but doing something about it over years and years and years, and that goes into the habits and neuroplasticity and all that stuff. But
Absolutely. Well, that was one of the things there, because you mentioned one of the terms that I love, because I'm a little interested in that environment. I wish I knew more about not just the psychology, soft science, but the neuroscience part of it. With
hardwiring, yeah.
Wow. And so, you in your chapter, you talk about a lot of things that I don't want to give away everything, because it's just such an interesting, just going through the first part here. But you even jump into talking about, I'm going to use the word kintsugi, which is a Japanese art form. And when I saw that, I'm like, wow, someone else has actually seen this, because I actually have a picture of this in my phone that I bumped in. And actually, it was so interesting to me, because it's a broken vessel, broken cup, but instead of them acting like everybody else, which is, oh, my coffee cup or my tea cup is broken, throw it out, they actually do what with it?
They actually embellish it. They celebrate it. So they take the cracks, instead of like super gluing them or actually tossing the pot, is a lot of potters would, or even especially if it's already like glazed and everything, something that's broken, and they will actually take it and inlay the crack with gold. So not only does it make it stronger, it embellishes it. It's like, we love this crack. See, I think they use silver as well, but like silver and gold and
Sure.
and
So now, tell me, you obviously put this in, and I look at how people, when they think in writing, it's showing me that that's in close proximity to your whole idea of managing your thoughts. So how does that work for you when you take that story and connect it to this idea that was seeded by your professor?
Right. So I think, part of my story is I'm in recovery. I'm a recovering alcoholic. And so, one of the best things that's come out of that for me is probably I got even more interested in thinking about my thoughts and neuroplasticity and all that stuff, because it's all related to the brain. But
Yes.
one of the coolest thing that's came out of that is my ability to share that story and help other people.
Wow.
And so something that was, terrible time in my life, my thoughts were creating my reality. And, that's the thing about thoughts, good or bad, they're going to create whichever way. But, this disease is so still like looked down upon, in a lot of circles, even in the medical field some. And so, I think it's important for me, it's part of who I am. It's something that I actually have to think about every day. And I could look at that as I'm broken. I have something that's wrong with me and I'm broken. or I can actually use that to say, look what I've come through. If I can come through this, look where I was over here, which
Sure.
I didn't even share any of that. Thank goodness. That's, but to where, to coming through that and to from dark to light. And so I think it's important to, and that's just an example. I mean, we have physical example, when you break a bone,
Sure.
and it heals up, it's stronger than it was before in that area.
Sure.
So I think in some way, coming through that has made me a stronger person. And
Absolutely.
definitely, I feel like that I'm able to use that to help other people. And so for me, it's almost a gift. At least it is on this side. It wasn't on the other side.
Sure.
But it definitely is on this side. So
well, first of all, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for the courage to be vulnerable. Extraordinary, because your story and what you've written here and how you have expressed yourself is going to be able to touch other people in all areas of life. So,
yeah, well, thank you, and I want to back up. I want to throw this in here, so this was a struggle for me because in my profession, it's like you don't talk about those things, and it's really sad because it's keeping people sick. Basically, they're afraid to come out of the closet about it. And this was a big step for me because I haven't talked about it at work. I haven't talked about it in my medical circles, and it's about to be out there, and it's in a way it's kind of like I get frustrated with the medical boards and nursing boards because they want to call it disciplinary action, or you basically, they almost make it illegal to be an addict or an alcoholic. So it's almost like it's something that I kind of want to use as like, hey, I came through this, and people come through this if they take care of themselves.
sure. Yeah. So you're empowering so many people by your courage. So
Hope so.
So
Yeah.
I definitely want to show off the book and some of the other things about your website and your background as an artist, entrepreneur, that you have so many things going on, and you're an extreme athlete, extreme endurance cyclist, and everything else. I'm like, my gosh, I thought my schedule and my workouts and everything, and then I see what you're doing, and I'm like, wow, you just really set the bar at a new level. So. I tell you, I guess what I need to do, I want to share my screen because I want to show you this. But first thing before I do that, I got to ask you, what gets you up in the morning?
Well, I tell you what, I love my job. I love what I do, and it's true that I write about this in the book. And for so many years as a nurse, I absolutely dreaded going to work.
Mm.
I think a lot of it it wasn't the actual work, it's the way it's structured. It's like nurses aren't empowered. They're, there's someone gets in a position where they basically are telling you what to do. And you have these brilliant people that if they would just let them take care of the patients, now there needs to be rules and things like that. But anyway, I just wasn't happy as a nurse. And I stayed in that for a long time. I had all these limiting beliefs, stories I was telling myself, like why I couldn't go on and do something else. And that's why I'm so passionate about mindset, is because I see people that they know they want to go do something else, but they just don't believe that they can. Right. And I'm sorry, I think I forgot what the question was.
What gets you up in the morning?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I got way off track. I last year, like, some things happened, and I started actually Napoleon Hill's book, the Think and Grow Rich book. I started going through those steps of what I wanted, my goal, and how I was going to get there. And I started reading them out loud, and an opportunity came into my life, a network marketing opportunity. And so I went on this journey of learning marketing, and it's turned into this whole other thing that I've fallen in love with.
Wow.
And, wanting to help people with not only their mindset, but with their marketing and growing their business. And, I'm working on so many projects with that right now that it's allowing my creativity, that my art that I'm not doing, my physical visual arts that I'm not doing right now, that hopefully that I'll get back to one day. It's allowing me to use that creativity in a new way. And so I'm excited always to get up and work on something,
Awesome.
So yeah, so that's,
Cool.
I've got, big plans and it's exciting. Life is exciting,
Absolutely, absolutely, and you do that. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and I wanted to look at a couple things regarding the book and just kind of showcase how all this looks. So let's see if we can. Tell me when you can see the screen.
Oh, there it is.
There you go. Okay, so obviously this is your book here, Beyond Success, and again, congratulations on that. Now, this has actually been seen on number of the major networks. In fact, I've got a number of them. Let's see, this is ABC. I think this is, NBC, CBS right here, Fox, and the CW channel, and there's more. This is just what I picked up real quick and off of Google. And so, you have, been seen on all these different news networks. This, I guess, would be an additional level of credibility, because now as an author, you also have your Kindle version available where people can get it on ebook. But having that association being picked up by so many networks, how can you pinch yourself twice? You go for author, and now how many people want to be an author and have the credibility of being on all these different networks?
Oh man, I still am pinching myself. I mean, I don't think I ever really even imagined that I would have a book that said as seen on,
Right.
different channels. And so it is amazing. And it does, I think, carry another level of credibility with it.
Sure.
So it's exciting.
Well, and I think that the cool thing is we want that level of credibility, because as you're telling this really extraordinary story in your book, this is about the fact that social proof is a big thing in society, in our social world. And when other people see that, wow, you have been this bold and this courageous, this vulnerable to go out there and tell the world. I mean, this is it. It's here. And then to have that level of courage. Again, I'm just inside. I'm just sitting here giving you all this applause.
Thank you, Steve.
I just think it's so absolutely awesome. I think you're so cool. Let's talk about going back to the success of the mind. This is your definition of success here. So tell me where this definition, it came from somewhere inside of you. Tell me the story behind your definition.
Well, I think it goes back to, first of all, I think success can be defined, no one person gets to define success only you can define success for yourself.
Right.
For some people, it's being a stay-at-home mom. That's all they've ever wanted to do. Sure. And that's awesome. That's wonderful. For some people, it's being in corporate America. It's whatever it is that you want to do. But for me, it's like, what happens when you get there? It's like, I thought, first of all, okay, well, I'm going to be a nurse, and then I'm going to do that for the rest of my life. And of course, that was not what I wanted to do. And then when I got to my career in anesthesia, which is something that I had thought about for a long time and didn't go back until late in life, I thought, this is it. This is where I want to be. I'm going to, I'm going to work my 20 years. I'm going to retire, and I'm going to be happy, and I'm going to go off into retirement and do whatever. And for me, I know that there's always going to be a next level for me. I know that, and it's, I was thinking about this today. Where did all this come from in me? And I think a lot of it is because I've always been an athlete. Mm-hmm. And so when I would push myself to failure, and when I got to one level, when I got to, once I ran a marathon, then I wanted to run an ultra marathon. And so I don't know, there's something about the human spirit. I think it's just the way we're wired. I think it's a gift from the universe, really, that we're always supposed to be expanding. And, I've heard other people say it. I'm not sure who said it, but if we're not growing, if we're not learning something new and growing, then we're going to be going backwards, because we never stay the same. I mean, not really. You're either kind of like decaying or you're expanding.
Sure. And constantly, replacing all the different cells on our body. So yeah, you should always be moving, expanding, growing. And a lot of people, I think you're going to inspire them with this because you do all of these things and your life is the symbol. So this is really awesome. And obviously there's a way for people to get a free PDF here. They can actually buy your whole book and download the Kindle, depending on what they want to do. I think that's actually down here in your website. Let's see, right there. Oh, from Amazon. So they can actually go on Amazon and pick up your book or download the Kindle, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, cool. So that's good. And I noticed there's a number of testimonials here from people that have known you for a long time. And I think Angela is someone that's known you probably the longest. And I noticed that as she's talking about, the time that she's been with you, the thing that I jumped out to me is that thing you just said there. You're always striving to gain, whether it's gain understanding or pushing yourself to the next level. So she's been sitting here watching you do all this for so long. I noticed her quote by Van Gogh. Tell me about Angela and tell me how you guys have been part of each other's lives.
So Angela and I worked in ICU together as RNs before we went back to anesthesia school. And then we both went to the same school. We were in the same class. And there were about 4 of us actually that were thicker than thieves. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a better analogy, but
Sure.
And we have stayed in touch. It's been 13 or 14 years since we graduated, and
right.
we just had a reunion in Dallas a few months ago. But when I read this, it kind of blew me away. I mean, because you don't really realize that your life, the example that you're leading, the interactions that you have, you never really realize what it's doing for other people. And
right.
And not that it's like doing stuff for her, but I just mean it's, I have people when I do a Facebook Live that have never commented, have never done anything. Maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, or even months later, they'll come up and say, "I really appreciate what you're doing.
Right.
It's really
right.
It's inspired me." Or I think for me, when someone tells me that I inspire them, I think that is probably that's about the best feeling I can have.
Absolutely. Yeah. That you impact another human for the good. And I mean, I'm just sitting here as I'm looking and scrolling through the rest of your website and looking at your book, and then looking at the fact that somewhere in the spare time of you being an ultra marathonist, being a CRNA, your entrepreneurial spirit is kind of taken hold, and you've now jumped into business coaching with a specific expertise in social media marketing. That's the whole craze right now of how to do that. So now you're learning again, stretching yourself, growing, and capturing an entire new industry. And now you're working with a lot of professionals in network marketing. So I don't know when you sleep, or maybe somebody granted you maybe an extra 4 or 5 hours a day, but whatever it is, if you can put it in a bottle, you should sell it.
You know what? I wish I could, and actually, sometimes you wonder about yourself if you haven't taken on just a little too much, and that might be one of my faults actually. But I don't see any other way to actually get to my goals, that the vision that I have, except for to do this, in my off time and in the nooks and crannies of my day. And so I wish I had a little more time to work on, the entrepreneurial, the coaching. But that's what I'm working toward, is to move up my retirement so that I can do this full time. So
you have given me so much time and so much great information here in the interview. So I only got one more question. Okay. What's next? What's your vision? What mountain have you decided that is Steph's next?
Well, I'm always trying to think, like I really do. I feel like I want to have a bigger impact, and I'm still kind of trying to nail that down. But I don't know. I think I'm really thinking about, and it's all tied into this business, which is just kind of like evolving, because really this started out as I was just going to learn how to do some marketing on the side so that I could learn how to bring more people into my network marketing business.
Sure.
And while that's still going on, more of my focus has been now like, oh my gosh, I love this. I can actually help other people do this. And
Right.
so I'm going to continue to develop the mindset, the mindset coaching and the business coaching. And I'm thinking about right now, I'm leaning toward like a YouTube channel to do that.
Okay.
So to hopefully, so like more content marketing,
Got it. Okay.
to plug into attraction marketing. So.
Wow, there you go. So, well, I want to come back and re-interview you again in let's say 6 months or so. And if you haven't already jumped on the rocket with Elon Musk and jumped to Mars, I appreciate your time, and I am so honored to just know you and spend time in getting to know you.
Likewise.
You've just done so many things. It's just there are good people that you love to meet in life, and then there's really great people. So I count you as one of those great people I've had a chance to meet.
Thank you so much. It's quite a compliment coming from you. I really respect you. So.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate your time, and we'll catch up with you again soon.
All right. Awesome, Steve. Thanks a lot. It was fun.